And I'm here at Jackson Queen with Alfarius Matt. Alfarius!
Because you know what? There you go. There you go.
Because who's Alfarius?
I'm Alfarius.
I'm Alfarius.
We're all Alfarius.
We are all. That's how they answer the phone here at Jackson Queen. So we're just having a little RTT today. It's nice, you know, gonna be fun. And I'm gonna be testing out my new list today. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, we'll have some fun.
The Dark King.
Hello and welcome to another tournament review. This was a brand new list that I really wanted to bring out, and it was designed around the concept of not giving up too many secondaries, but mainly to be able to control 100% the secondaries that you are able to take. Mainly, as an Eldari player, engage on all fronts, deploy scramblers, and with this list, while we stand, we fight, being that the characters in the list are the same cost as even the raiders in the list, which means you get to choose which units you want to keep alive for while we stand, we fight. Meaning it's very easy to go into the game with almost a guaranteed 40 points for the secondary objectives, which in 9th edition is very important. So let's take a look at the list, and then we'll dive into the matchups. And here's the list that I'll be taking to the tournament. It is a triple patrol detachment, as most Drukhari lists that are going competitively. The two small detachments are the first one. It's a Black Heart patrol. So 5 Cabalite Warriors. They're the ones that give me Vect. 5 Scourge with 4 Shredders. I didn't have the Heat Lances made, so I just had to put Shredders on there. Drazar, the Master of Blades, simply because he is awesome. Then I have another patrol of Prophets of Flesh with the Warlord. Now he has Diabolical Soothsayer to give me additional command points. And then 2 Racks with an Ossifactor in each unit for Fire and Fade. They also have a 4+ in Vulnerable Save, which is pretty good, and it gives me access to Black Cornucopians to jump the Racks around. And then the very large patrol of Masters of Mutagen and Dark Technomonsters. Now this is the main part of the army. Comes with another Homunculus. Now each Homunculus has a Hex Rifle, a Scissor Hand, and an Ichor Injector, making them 95 points, which is the same as one of my Raiders. This is 3 units of Racks that have Hex Rifles, which are basically sniper rifles that can be overcharged. Then we have 2 units of 8 Incubi, so 7 and a Clavex with Demiclaves, using the old Drazar as a Clavex, because why not? And then 2 units of Scourge, 5 strong with Heat Lances, and that's simply because to kill Marines. Then to round it all off, 6 Venoms with double cannons, and 2 Raiders with disintegrated cannons. Now, as you can tell, the most points that a unit costs in this is 95. The Raiders, the 2 Homunculus, and then Drazar is 105 points, which means I get to choose who becomes my While We Stand We Fight, which means I can pick the 3 characters to be While We Stand We Fight. You could just make that another Coven patrol and take another Homunculus if you wanted to, but I like Drazar, so I decided to test it. And all credit where it's due, I developed this list in conjunction with Sean Naden. Yeah, that's right. Mr. Sean Naden, Mr. 40k Jesus himself. And, it was actually really cool. It's a cool list concept. I can't wait to see how it does at the event. And then after the event, we're going to go through each of the matchups. I'm going to come back and I'm going to discuss what I felt each part of the list did, how it did, and if I will be changing the list at all, or any tips or tricks that I learned as I played it. So I hope you enjoy, and I hope you learn together with me. Let's dive in to round number 1. Diving right into round number 1, playing against Death Guard. Large unit of Terminators, lots and lots of Poxwalkers, big unit of Chaos Plague Marines, Demon Prince support, Defiler support, and Blight Drone support, together with, of course, the Foul Blight Spawn. This game was a good test However, it is a decent matchup for a Dark Technomancer style list, just with the sheer amount of anti-infantry firepower we can put out. And my opponent didn't really have a lot of long-range firepower that could deal with my units. What ended up happening was me essentially putting a lot of pressure on his base and then picking one side of his army to completely and utterly crush, and then with my speed pivot and go towards the other side. I was able to stall him long enough, as well as stop him from really using his heavier units like the Terminators. And even though I did lose a lot of the army, it ended up coming on top. So let's look at the breakdown at the end of the game.
And here it is after round number 1. So I did play against Death Guard. We played Battle Lines, just hold 1, hold 2, hold more, and Hammer and Anvil deployment. Because of the amount of small units I had, I was able to sort of zone out the table for his Terminators that had come in deep strike. And he did get aggressive with his Mephitic Blightholder and his Flamers, and I was able to sort of like get some Incubi in, and they didn't die for like forever. They got charged by like a Demon Prince, and we're in like with the Flamer Bro and all that stuff. The Terminators did end up coming in on turn 3, but I had essentially zoned out the table, so they came into like this corner here, and it was very hard for them to sort of push past here. The Shredders did great. They came in and against large blocks of infantry, he had like 30 cultists, 20 pox, and 20 pox. So the blast on the Shredders actually came in quite handy, even though I think I'm going to switch them over to Heat Lances in the future as well. I did keep my characters back the whole game, just holding an objective, basically giving my while we stand we fight. I love the fact that I can just pick my secondaries and don't have to worry about what my opponent is bringing with this list. Okay, so with that, it's a 95-point win with painting, and we will move on to round number 2.
Let's dive in to round number 2. So I played Death Guard on round 1 quite successfully, and then round 2 I ended up playing against Shane and his Death Guard. Now, you've seen Shane on the channel. He hasn't been to many tournaments since COVID started. He's been mainly focusing on the hobby and painting. However, his list was definitely, in my opinion, a lot more optimized. He had Spawn, he had Mephitic Blightholders, he had the mortars and all that good stuff, as well as a good combination of relics like the slime pistol and a whole bunch of stuff. Now, this list was a lot more tactical and a lot tougher for me to play, but the list itself played very well to the mission. So let's see how I did at the end.
Okay, and here we are after round number 2. This is the army I played against. Shane, who brought his fancy-wancy new... ooh, it's an Nurgle contaminated monstrosity drill. That's a legit forge roll, by the way. That's why it looks so pristine and crispy. Some Plague Marines stuff. We played Surround and Destroy. And I did win the roll to go first, and that just allowed me to really put a lot of pressure on the objectives and essentially shut down Shane from scoring primary for the entire game. I focused fire on all his poxsmokers, so he had like no OBSEC. And then by the time his drill came up, I was essentially all over the table. So his drill had like one spot to come in, and it couldn't really impact the game. My MVP for the game was the Incubi that came in and basically killed 2 Plague Scrollers over like 3 combat phases. Woo! Yeah, the Incubi. They were just, that lethal precision, oh man, 6s to wound, 3 damage. They were just chopping through Plague Scrollers, which was great. Although the first unit killed 1 of these and then died. And that, the first one just bounced. They like charged, bounced, dead. They got eaten by the Mephitic Blightholders. Typhus right at the end decided to try and complete a psychic ritual. Last psychic ritual needed to do. Boxcars, explodes. He has 3 wounds left. Does 3 mortal wounds himself. Fails 3 feel no pains with 1s and 2s, which then allows this character here to re-roll on infantry because he's spending a CP for that, and then fails 3 more feel no pains. And so Typhus then explodes at the last turn, stopping the psychic ritual, not being able to score it. Oh man, it was a crazy turn of events right there. But with that, we'll move on to round number 3.
And round number 3 it was. So that game was quite decent. I really enjoyed like how the board control of the list worked. But the test was truly to be against the Space Wolves. Now, this is new Space Marine Codex pre-Space Wolf supplement. So we didn't have everything from the Space Marine supplement except for the updated Thunderwolf cavalry rules and that sort of thing. And what a game. It was definitely a tooth and nail fight. And there were a couple of moments in the game that it could have totally gone the opposite direction. But hard fought, both armies, very aggressive, very fast, very mobile, with the mission itself really pinning both armies into their specific zones. So let's take a look at how I did. And then after, I'll discuss the list itself, how I would change it, what I liked, what I disliked, and how it did in general at the event.
And that's that after round number 3. It's a long day, which was great. I did lose this game against the Thunderwolf Cavalry. Billy's Space Wolves have bested me yet again. It was a great testing experience, and I'll talk a little bit more about it in the breakdown. But I decided to deploy my Scourge, which was great, but he pinned me in, and it was table quarters with the mission, which means he pinned me into my zone, and I just couldn't push out with 10 Thunderwolves basically in my face and 3 heavy-hitting characters with a couple of the Invictor Tactical Warsuits. The way that I did deploy, though, if I would have gone first, I would have been able to break out a lot sooner. It would have been a lot easier for me, but that's the risk that you take. So it's good to go to RTTs and test things like that. Make sure that you're ready for the next time. I learned a lot. I did make a few mistakes, but this list, I'll talk about it. I really liked it. It was really fun. Welcome back to the Army Review. And at the event, I came in second. That's right. The list itself came in second place. Even with that loss, I got such high points that I was able to be the best of all the armies that was defeated. So let's do a quick breakdown. First and foremost, the list itself on a scale of 1 to 10. I give it an 8. I felt like I lacked the hard-hitting firepower of the Ravagers and the Reapers. However, in terms of playing the mission, it was fantastic to just know I could score points by hiding my main characters and giving myself points. The only big change is definitely need to make sure that that unit of Scourge is Heat Lances. Having 2 units of Heat Lances only in a couple of games, I really, really wish that I had that unit as well as Heat Lances. And then the double cannons on all the Venoms were fantastic. So all in all, the list was really good. And I feel that my mistakes in the last game were more because of my lack of practice with the list than because I feel the list would not have the tools that it would be required to play the game. Now, did I need Vect? Not really. Could that be an additional Coven unit, or so I could have another Homunculus instead of Drazar? Sure, or maybe even keep Drazar. But I definitely need more racks. I don't have more than 25 racks. Even as you can see, this is basically an old Homunculus standing in as an Akathist. So if I had more racks, I'd probably try and take many more units of racks. Maybe even smaller units of Incubi, or even a battalion detachment and a patrol detachment to save all the points elsewhere. But I did feel that the Prophets of Flesh racks could have been larger, 10 strong, in order to fully take advantage of their 4+ invulnerable save and the Black Cornucopians. So, all in all, really, really like the list, and I'm already hard developing another list. Now that the new Forge World book has been released, now that we have a better understanding of things that are to come, I have been developing another list, which sort of took a little bit of inspiration from this list. Thanks a lot to Sean Naden for helping me develop this list and going back and forth and just being a soundboard. But I have gone back to the drawing table and brought back another list, which right now I feel is even stronger than it used to be. So let me know what you think down below. Do you like this style of list, which is like lots of MSU? The Incubi were quite good. 8 strong meant that they would go in and actually kill anything they touched, and they were large enough to survive. My new list has 3 squads of 5, which I think is about the same. It's 1 less Incubi than 2 of 8, but with smaller squads, it lets me have more control over the course of the table. So, what do you think? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Would you change anything? I hope you enjoyed this tournament review in a new format where I really dive in more into the list that I took and show you and explain to you what I liked, what I disliked. After all, I've been Skari, your grateful host. A huge shout out to all the channel Patreons who support the channel. If you'd like to support the channel, the links are down below in the description. I'll see you over at the page. Skari, out. The Dark Kin.